We all have a box of old stuff sitting somewhere in our home, whether it's been there for weeks or decades. There's something special about cracking it open and taking a peek inside.
For Mimi Gough, an author who lives in Portland, those memories served as a roadmap for her latest book, From Fledgling to Flyer. It tells the tale of her late father, Joe, who served in the Army Air Force as a bombardier over the South Pacific during World War II. Mimi's grandmother kept a detailed scrapbook of his time in the service, and lucky for her, she didn't have to go into the dusty old attic to look it over.
My grandmother had them under her sofa, and whenever I'd go visit her, she'd pull them out and ask if I wanted to take a look at them. And of course, as a child, you don't think about reading your father's letters and the different things that were part of that era. And so they sort of got shuffled from one house to the next and ended up in my attic. And I've sort of peeked at them a few times, but never really dug into them.
Yeah, but this is really special for you to have these because you lost your dad to cancer when you were 14. How have you carried him with you, though, throughout your life?
I guess I often think of the lessons that he taught me, and sometimes it's not really an actual lesson, but it's the way he behaved. He was caring and loving, and he believed in his community, and so he always wanted me to sort of have that sense of being caring about other people, and I think that I've often looked to that type of attitude in what I did. So.
Yeah, and you really kind of take people through his time in the military just by reading through his letters. What was that like for you when you kind of were able to see how he wrote, how he thought?
It was actually like he was with me. I felt like I'm reading the letters that he used to send to me at camp. I could look at the handwriting and I could feel his presence there. And I really had that sense that everything that he was saying during these letters was to that caring, loving family member. And that definitely came across as I was reading them, that he kept saying, you know, everything is fine, even though it might not have been, but that was just the way that he showed his feelings for other people, was just letting them know, you know, maybe a difficult situation, but it's okay.
Was there anything you learned about him that surprised you?
I'm not sure that it surprised me, but it confirmed a lot of things for me. Maybe that's more what I discovered from this.
What did it confirm for you?
Well, it confirmed for me that he's not mechanical. He certainly had difficulty putting a hammer to a nail, and I found that certainly that was very true throughout some of his letters here, that he often talked about the psychomotor testing that they did to try to put him into a classification, and that he just really found that very challenging. And so I think that it confirmed a lot of things that I felt I knew about him, and that was certainly one of them.
There was an aching sadness for you when you kind of wrapped up your research and putting everything together. Did it give you any peace to put this together for your dad and for other people?
Absolutely. And I think that although that aching sort of feeling back to that original grief when I was 14 years old came back, I think on the other hand, it filled that hole that was left by that experience. And to lose a parent when you're a teenager, it gives you a whole different perspective on how short life really is and the meaning that you have to put into your own life to go forward. But it did fill that space.
Everybody has a box of something, right? A box of memorabilia from their family in their attic or maybe under the sofa. Are you hoping that maybe other people will pick up this book and say, hey, it's time for me to go down my own family's memory lane?
Absolutely. I really do hope that that does give others that inspiration to think about what's in the attic, or what's something that I've always wondered about, and I actually have a way to dig into that and find out more about a family member or a friend or someone that is close to them or had meaning in their life. I've talked to other people who had these letters or had opportunities, and they feel regret for not going back and looking at what was left behind, and feel like they missed an opportunity to learn a little bit more, not only about that family member or friend, but about themselves as well in the process. And that can be a really amazing healing piece for a lot.
See, so it's not always just a box of old stuff.
No, it's the story of a life.
Exactly. So if you would like to read this book yourself, it can be found online. We'll have a link for you on our website and our app. And by the way, I didn't share this in the piece, but there is a story of when Mimi went up in a B-26, and she said she felt like her dad was with her the whole time. So lots of stuff in there for you guys to check out.
All right, when we